All right, ladies and gents, boys and girls. How are we, ladies? Bit of a different start to the stream. Hope you're doing well, ladies and gents. Looking at the gold today, guys. Looking at some buys. I'll get to those shortly. In the meantime, if you could, make sure to hit that like button. All that good stuff. Looking forward to seeing what we can come up with moving forward here today on the charts. Without further ado, guys, let's get into it. Let's get to work. And let's have a look at the gold. So I do have an order set. I do have a buy limit set. Was hoping it would be tagged into on this recent drop. Didn't quite tag in, very close to it. But I do have a limit order set based off the interruption entry. The delayed interruption entry here to the upside. I'll go over that shortly. The entry is set as I... Wow, look at the bounce off. Wow. Oh, it's been like this all day. It's been like this all day from when I've been on the charts anyway. It looks like it's going to trigger you into a trade, gets so close and then just reverses. Anyway, I still got the order set. I did manage to take a trade. It was called for my members during the Asian session, which was a win as well. Members had plenty of time to set that up, any of those who were watching it. So that was a good win. We'll go over that. There was also opportunities again. Right here, there's also another opportunity a little bit lower down to also look at. But anyway, guys, in the meantime, if you could, don't forget to please hit that like button. Any charts, any questions, anything you'd like me to go over, feel free to pop those into the chat. Welcome to everyone on TikTok as well. And let's get to work, guys. Let's have a look at, first of all, the news. Let's see if there is anything in the way of news for our stream here today. Let's just refresh that. So nothing scheduled, but again, there's some high impact news to come. 30 minutes into NY session with CPI will shake the markets, that's for sure. So obviously for what's going on over in the Middle East as well, we need to keep a finger on the pulse when it comes to news, guys. Anything could break at any point in time. But let's get to work, guys. Asian session yet again, bringing the noise today. Let's get into it. Let's start with the weekly time frame and do our top down analysis. And what we can see is the current weekly is now starting to form strong bullish yet again. We're hovering back above that previous bullish candles high and looking like there is still the momentum here to the upside. On to the daily time frame, previous daily closed back with a long rejection wick, but we did still respect these wicks to the left hand side, and we are currently bouncing off those levels as well. So to me, still looks quite bullish, still, especially the way the current daily is forming. I like at this point what I'm seeing within the current daily, and it's swaying me to look for more buys as opposed to sells. So what I'm likely going to be doing is looking to see what levels were formed within this current daily candle for a price to potentially pull back to, form support at, and look for our buy opportunities, and also what levels of resistance we have formed within the current daily candle. If price was to approach those levels, begin to pop above them, what sort of opportunities we may have to look for some potential buy options. Likely going to be buys above the current weekly candles high as well. Fair distance off that, man. Watching gold on my MetaTrader just completely bounce off, got within, and I want to check this out. How close was it to entry? The gold interruption has just been phenomenal this year. About 8 pips, so close but not quite. So bullish on the daily, bullish on the weekly. 4-hour structure is definitely still bullish as well here. Current candle is about to close, and we are closing, by the looks of it, it could be potentially almost a doji candle. It's a weak bearish candle at this rate, but not really a great deal of direction here on the 4-hour, other than we know we are bullish in structure, but we are kind of consolidating at the minute. What we're going to do is mark in, this will be confirmed shortly as the most recent resistance. We will adjust it shortly, guys. I know it's a big zone, but I will be adjusting that. I'll mark that in as support to make our way down to the all important 15-minute time frame. And what we can see here is, once again, we are bullish in structure here in the 15, and that will remain the case so long as really remain above this support. I'm just going to drag this to the most recent price action to this point here. That'll do. All right. Now, let me adjust to the upside, and we're just going to adjust it to that point there. We're also going to mark in another level at this point here. All right. So, mark in some minor support. All right, so there are levels of interest, guys, and what I can see is, so the bias is bullish. What we do have is the interruption here on my chart, which is at 4383.17. That is where I do have a limit order currently set. So if price was to pop back down a little bit lower and perhaps sweep through that level, which I would rather it not do, now I'm going to be looking for some structure once again to form from that support. Look for any potential buy opportunities. Similar to what I mentioned yesterday, guys, for those who were paying attention towards the end of the stream, it did play out. It played out absolutely perfectly. And did we get involved in a cracking trade with the members group later on? That was probably the trade of the year, guys. What a trade that was. I'll go over that too. An absolute pearl of a trade. Had about 80 pips on the table in literally the blink of an eye. It was about 15 seconds, something like that. I'll have a quick chat about that. The analysis from yesterday was to let it form some structure at this previous level of support to the left, which is exactly what it did do. For those who remember, I said let it close above resistance, which it did do here, and look for continuation. So no opportunities on a break of this bullish candle's high, and it was also an opportunity on the interruption, which is what the members and I took live together. Anyway, so further options. There is also a limit order valid at this point here. So it's a little bit lower down. We'll shift it across, but we've got the cluster interruption. So this is the delayed interruption. This is the cluster. The difference is the cluster interruption forms at support or resistance, and it's the last candle in the opposite direction to the impulse. And what we do is target in this case, the high of that candle for price to bounce off it. If it's a bit of a pullback, allow us to get to break even and secure some profits. The delayed interruption is the one that occurs after the cluster. Initially, it's a continuation interruption. So in case price pulls back on the following candle and engulfs the pause, that is the continuation if it gets triggered in, which is a very high probability entry. But if it continues to impulse, it's still valid on the delayed interruption. That's what we have here. So that is the difference between the continuation, delayed, and cluster interruption entries. So we do have some buy limits set, guys. I've not set the one lower down just yet, but if and when need be, I probably will do so. Now further buy options will be above the most recent resistance form within the current daily candle. Once again, if we were to respect and actually create that equal high and reject, then there is no need to pop above it. So what I want to see is the close above, because we had rejection on this wick not too long ago trying to pop above. We definitely want to see at least a 15-minute candle closing above that point, and at that point there we could be good to continue bullish. So something like so. But again, guys, bias is more bullish than bearish today. So we'll see what presents. Getting close to the limit order entry yet again. And let's have a good one, team. So personally took a trade based on the interruption here. Watching it at session, or well, daily open, it got within about 3 pips of tagging in without an upper wick on this candle and this candle. Just in tag in, eventually popped back up, tapped into that cluster interruption, instantly rejected about 40 pips. I got to about 45 pips, I think it was. No, sorry, 50 pips in the end. I secured, well, the whole thing actually. I exited the whole thing at around 42 pips, I think it was in the end, just to get some profit on the table to begin the day. I was happy with that. And we've been looking at the buy ever since with the members group. So that was trade from Asian session. Once again, guys, it was all called in the members group in the trade ideas section. All the trades have been called in there, guys. So we've been absolutely killing it. The trade yesterday live on the members only call was one of the trades of the year. Absolute picture perfect continuation interruption. We had impulse, we had pause, continuation, set the buy limit at the high of that bearish candle. It tagged in, you had about 2 pip drawdown, and it just instantly flipped and bounced and rocketed straight up. And that was a cracking entry. And there were quite a few on the call, so it was good to see my team, you know, making bank on that one. In the meantime, Jim, g'day to you, mate. BMPW, good morning to you, my YouTube member. Hope you're doing well, brother. Franco, good morning to you, brother. Tony Gold, Graham Rising to you. Psych C, when you take the IC, do you wait for the third candle to close, leaving a gap, or will you take it on the third candle taps in before closing? Doesn't have to be the third candle. It's usually the IC is valid as long as you got the engulfing, and I prefer it to engulf at least no more than 2 candles later. So in this case, this is all right, 2 candles later. This one, it's the next candle that engulfs. What it just shows me is the fact that there's still momentum. So the initial impulse is bullish. So more so the continuation I'm talking about, and a delayed interruption. The initial impulse in this case is bullish. You have a pause. You kind of want it to be engulfed early, so the following candle, if not that, has to be the next candle, because what that suggests to me is that the buyers are still have the momentum and a stronghold on the market. Chris Nav, is price still bullish? To me, it is bullish. Wow, what is that noise? TikTok, g'day to you guys. No questions from the TikTok chat. You guys are pretty quiet. All good. All right. The only concern I really have about this is the 4 hour, because at that point you'll have a low high, low low on the 4 hour time frame. The 1 hour did leave a long low wick, so that is a positive. Is what I often see is price will again do likewise if we are to bounce off it. So often leave long low wick as well and react quite quickly. Quickly look at the M30. Also the M30, oh geez, the M30 is an entry just a tad higher up and it didn't quite tap in. I've just noticed that. All right, so there's an entry just a little bit higher up based off the 30. I'm going to focus on the 15, but it got so close to tapping into that and actually lines up with some resistance here to the left, as does the 15-minute one. So I'm just going to stick to the 15-minute one, guys, but if you want, there is the 30-minute one just a tad higher up. I didn't even realize it until now, so. Four, 3, 8, 3.17. My guys, let me share with you a link. Yeah, so all the trades, all the updates, everything goes into the members group. The Asian session trade ideas was there. The Asian session analysis was sent in pretty much at the daily open. Right, let's see if we get some sort of reaction, or if we get a quick reaction to that level that I've got set. Quickly have a look at what the indicator here is telling us they have been working on. saying that it's neutral. Not really giving us a lot of information on this particular time frame. Yeah, work in progress. Was at work on it today again. Realized I got to use a wonder though for it, because Forex.com doesn't have some of the data feed I need, which I quickly discovered while trying to put it together. King Multi, morning, good day to you. Please, I'm having an emotional problem. Always close profitable or good trading pull back or correction, and the market will move my target. Well, what you have to do is have rules. Please, can you help me fix this problem? What you need to do is have some strict rules, mate. So knowing what you want to see in order to begin to manage the trade. So if you're into profits, have maybe a set rule as to how far into profit you choose to go to break even, whether that be 1-to-1, whether it be 30-40 pips into profit. It will also depend on the type of trade you're taking, because if you're trading within a range itself, I always say do not be greedy. The range holds priority, so get to break even. If it doesn't sting, fantastic. If it doesn't, there's a chance it could chop about and take your stop loss out either way, so it could be a good reason to manage it in at, you know, get to break even. So I have some set rules. It's going to take time to figure out what is the best way though. Going to be a lot of trial and error, so you might choose to set yourself right. Gets the 30 pips, gets to break even, gets the 50 pips, secure some partials, gets the 1-to-1, secure a little bit more, so on and so forth. And irrespective of your account size, that's just something you need to do, because if you're trading a small account, it is important to practice really good habits from the very beginning, because that will breed and lead to when, you know, you move on to a bigger account, whether it be through a prop firm or your own capital, or I have someone knocking on the door wanting to give you capital once you've proven, you know, you got a good track record. You need to practice all these good habits. So I'll get into the habit of practicing these habits early when it comes to trade management. And again, it's just a bit of trial and error, mate. Everyone does it differently. You know, you see me sometimes getting to break even at 15 pips here, but I do what works for me. It'll take you a bit of time to do what works for you, but it's very important to journal, because journal is going to start to pick up on your little, you know, character flaws potentially as a trader. And then that will also help you identify how you could fix it. So journal, note down how far into profit it went before you went to break even. What was the result? How far into drawdown it went before you started to maybe manage the position, and what was the end result? I wish I could just click my fingers and fix it for you, but there is no magic way, to be honest, my friend. It's just mainly through trial and error and documentation. Chris Nav, what do you think about the previous daily closing bearish and today's price pushing downwards? It could still do that, yes. Previous daily had a long upper wick, so it was performing bullish for a long part of it. Current daily could do the same. As far as a level, it's tapped into some previous support here to the left hand side. Wow, it's tapped into an interruption. Just noticed that. Look at that rejection of the interruption on the daily time frame here. What an entry it is, guys. What an entry it is. He's discovered it first on this stream, and we have been dominating. Absolutely dominating using it. So yeah, to answer, yes, it could drive lower, but I'm willing to accept the risk on the potential buys here. We are essentially just range bound at the minute, and I do believe still buyers are still more in control. Chris Nav, is it going to be like yesterday where price pushes again? It possibly could, mate. Bed pal, got a nice living room. What do you got? So this is all right, guys. This looks like the heat is cooling down a little bit. This is not bad. This is what I like to see, this type of approach to the interruption. What would be great is if this candle doesn't crane up, or we can just wick down, tag us in and bounce. All right, it's flipped that minute, so it's all right. Doesn't matter if it's a slow trickle to it. To me, very high probability. We leave multiple long lower wicks. There's a good chance at some point one of these lower wicks is going to tap in. And as we know, we just trade the plan, guys. We're not going to jump in between in fear, FOMO. There is no such thing on this channel. What a trade that was. I know trading's not supposed to be exhilarating, but I mean, that trade was the absolute definition of exhilarating. Yesterday in members call, waiting patiently for confirmation. It decided to rip literally in the last 15 to 20 seconds of this candle and close strong bullish engulfing. Split second to actually set the order, literally set it, was in pretty much right as I set it, popped up to about 60-70 pips 5 seconds later. Job done. Was unbelievable. Absolute pearl of a trade. We're currently pushing back bullish. It's okay, guys. All good. BMPW, no FOMO. None whatsoever, my friend. All right, let's quickly look at some of the other pairs here. Silver's looking like it's potentially going to close above a zone here to the left, form within a current day's candle. Closure above that point, there's a good chance it's going to come up and retest the daily high as well. What it may also do if it closes above this resistance is if got interruption valid. So wait for the confirmation. It has to close above this resistance. At that point, you've got a continuation interruption at the high of that bearish candle. Stop loss below it, target the high. Let's quickly look at GJ. Let's forget GJ, doesn't look great. AU, not a lot going on there. Actually, there's an interruption. Oh man, look at that. Absolutely phenomenal this entry, guys. Would have had like a point drawdown maybe, if that. Look at the reaction to it. That's the type of the delayed interruptions I really like, when you approach it but you don't quite tap in. I'm assuming it probably had just a straight upper wick before it rejected. What entry that would have been. The U doesn't look great at all at the minute. The U looks disgusting. EJ, there's an interruption valid. Sorry, GA, not EJ. All right, let's quickly look at indices here. German 40. Bit of focus speed. German 40, you do have obviously bullish weekly, counter probabilities to the upside. Still at all-time high territory, daily, weak bullish candle. So bullish daily, bullish weekly, 4 hours bullish in structure, but very hard pressed at your high time high resistance. 15-minute is also still technically bullish the way I see it. Look at all these interruptions too. That one tick would have worked. This one tick would have worked. Unbelievable. Yeah, so German 40, I'd be looking for a close above this resistance. Look for a strong body candle to suggest the volume might be back in the market. Otherwise, at the minute, not much going on German 40. I'd probably be focused on the interruption a little bit lower down if it were me, but I do not trade it. Peter, good day to you, my friend. Gold. Definitely quite a bit of volume about on gold. These candles are quite big. Once again, guys, if you are paying attention to the analysis, whether or not a trade is executed live on stream, it all depends on what price action is doing. But I give you so much information to go away from the stream to look for your entries. Yesterday, I told you exactly what to look out for, and it literally played out to a T. Alrighty, guys. What's going on, team? Anyone currently running any positions? Let me know. How has the week gone? Been a really good week. Been a really solid week for the team as well. Let's get this chat pumping. Let me know, guys. Are you currently running any trades? Were you in trades already during the Asian session? How did you go? Let us know. You caught gold early morning, Peter. Nice one. All right, NASDAQ, there's a cluster interruption valid on NASDAQ. Fairly wide stop loss though. Just quickly looking at it. Daily candle probability is bearish based off yesterday's candle. Rejection of resistance here to the left. Just consolidating back below the resistance. Current candle inside bar candle, not a great deal of volume. 4 hour, still technically bullish in structure, but what we are doing within the structure itself is we created a double top, high low, lower high, lower low. Looks like potentially exhausting again upon a bit of a pullback here on NASDAQ. Yeah, to me, what you have here, and this is what I really do like, the 15-minute structure is technically bullish though, we'll say that, but we had a very strong initial impulse to the downside. What I'm seeing just now on the return of that, where the origin of the impulse, price is slowly trickling up to it. So to me, it kind of resembles this, where we often see price tap into that pocket of liquidity, which is where the cluster interruption is, and you get that waterfall rejection yet again. So to me, NASDAQ looks really good. BMPW, no trades yet. Waiting to see London has to offer. Fair enough, my friend. Peter closed too early at 75 pips, round number 400. Yeah, it happens, man. I closed a win at just over 40 pips. It only moved an extra 10 or so, and then it went the opposite direction. So sometimes you know, it's a good decision to get out early. I'm just going to continue, but it's all part of it. So see, 2 hour short gold from 44.01. Okay, nice one. You're in some nice profits, so make sure not to give it back, not to take a loss. Billing 2. Go for it, mate. What's your question? We have a look at Bitcoin. Not a great deal going on. It's approaching some support here on the 15. Does It's just flip. No, it's not flip structure at 15. 15 is still technically bullish. Weekly's forming quite a strong bearish candle. You're at some support, you're at some pretty strong support, so there's a bit of a difficult area to be selling into. I want to drag this down to incorporate the bullish candle wicks on a 4 hour. Yeah, so you're at some 4 hour support right now. There is some pretty clean traffic within it, but probably best to let it pop below. It is cleaner below that 4 hour support. I'm sure that would be a 30-minute interruption, perhaps. No, it's not. Look at that for a little cluster interruption. Way up ahead. Tiny stop loss. Not sure how I feel about that one. Heard a crazy, elaborate, sophisticated scam. Unfortunately, that someone fell for today in crypto and lost a lot. And I feel so bad for that individual. And it makes me feel like I'm glad, to be honest, that I'm out of crypto. Because even I would have fallen for this one, I'm sure. Double B, morning to you. Greens from Hong Kong. Hong Kong, it'd be afternoon, so it'd be same as here, where I am. It's early evening, late afternoon here in Melbourne. We have just under 30 minutes until London Open. So buy limit is set, guys. On screen, level. And don't just use my level, you need to see if you understand the entry, and a lot of the people watch me on the regular do understand the interruption entry now. You guys need to check what the highest point in this bearish candle is in your broker's chart, and that should be your point of entry. On my chart, it's 43.8317. BMPW, yep. All the best to everyone. For those watching on TikTok, don't forget, it's in your best interest at some point to check out the YouTube channel. It's the exact same profile name. Reason being is because I don't stream all the time on TikTok. Yesterday I was not on TikTok, I was live on YouTube. So Monday to Thursday I am on YouTube, TikTok 2 to 3 times a week. So if you can't find me on TikTok, you know where to look. Plus, there's a lot more educational content on the YouTube channel. All right, guys, I'll be back in 1 minute. Have I got my visa yet for the land of Thailand? Let's see. Not yet. Being multi in Nigeria is 7:30 a.m. We are waiting for London Open. Yep, London Open is the turn of this hour. Now let's quickly have a look at the different time frames here. So the 4 hour still just open not long ago, still in the first hour. It's respected a lot of that previous candle. We're expecting the bodies of the candles here to the left hand side, so we could potentially use that as added confluence to look for any potential trade options. The 1 hour tapping into some wicks here to the left and bouncing off it. Now I know we've got some local resistance that we are at just now, and close above would suggest that there's a good chance we're heading up to the next level. The issue is it's likely not going to be the margin, so this rate, I'm just going to wait for price to do its thing. 5 minutes, a little bit sketchy. We want to close above the resistance here. We want the 15 to closing above that point. I mean, the issue is there's still a fair bit of time, so if this thing wants to continue bullish, it will eat into the margin. So what I could do is mark in this as some minor resistance, and a close above would give us a potential opportunity to take a buy up towards 4,400. But again, we've got just over 6 minutes remaining, so in the meantime it could push. I'm not prepared to take any impulse entry. I didn't have the right confirmation to do so, especially considering the recent move within the current daily is creating lower highs, lower lows. No way am I considering anything impulsive. I need confirmation. Now, what I'm going to do is measure in the candle width and see, because that's going to be my stop loss, about 57 pips, and it's still pushing target. So as soon as we we'll encroach on that 1-to-1. As soon as we encroach on 1-to-1, for me, it's not an entry, because there just is not the margin to look for the trade. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if we can get like a little bit of a pause here in a 5 minute, closing us above. And what we could potentially do is wait for the following candle to create a low wick. And as it creates a low wick, perhaps tapping into the zone again, rejecting it, we could manage to perhaps use that as our stop loss. It's going to be a very tight stop loss though, in anticipation that price is ready to retest that 4,400 level again. So wait and see, guys. We'll wait for this candle to close in just under 5 minutes from now. Christoph, so 1-to-1 trades aren't worth taking. No, they are, mate. But I would want usually a minimum to target, at least 1-to-1. Again, I'm scalping, so look, I've secure profits. For the most part these days, it's anywhere around that 30 plus. I begin to secure something, especially considering a lot of time we're trading within a range. We're just pushing at the minute. All right, so yeah, no impulse entry for me there, guys. Unfortunately, just have to wait and see how price reacts to perhaps the resistance. And if we are to impulse from this current area, we may be looking for a little pause candle to present. and give us the potential interruption entry. How close did it get to the 30-minute interruption? A couple pips away from that one as well. Wow. And no, this is not interruption, guys. It's the beginning of an impulse, so it needs to create a really more strong impulsive leg. And then it would be perhaps considered cluster interruption later on. But at this rate, it's not considered interruption entry. You have to let it create the initial move. Reason being is because you haven't been coming from an uptrend, you've been coming from the initial impulse was bearish. So it has to be in line with the actual trend itself. So if we come from this support, form this pause, and then look and continue through it, then it would be valid. But we were actually trending in the opposite direction prior to this pause. So therefore, it's not technically an interruption candle. So I know some of you are probably going to ask, is that a valid entry? To me, it's not. On double B, Asian session opens upwards for recent consecutive days. It has, although today it did reject initially, bounce off support, very strong support. But it was technically bearish at that point. So when I took the trade, it was in line with the actual 15-minute structure, which to me was technically bearish. Got in, got out, took some profit, and it pushed through it not long after. But to me, Asian session is the best session to trade by far and away. You get some really clean moves. There is plenty of volume. There's plenty of volume. Whoever thinks Asian session has no volume, you think again. It trends a lot cleaner. It moves a lot cleaner. Gives you some really big moves, especially around the Shanghai Open. Also, obviously, Tokyo Open itself. Even Sydney Open, you do get a bit of volume. So for 3 consecutive 1-hour candle opens, you get quite a bit of volume coming into the market. Counter trade M30 interruption would have worked, but all good. And no mag. Oh, what are you doing? Definitely not making it easy to get involved. However, it's no stress whatsoever, because again, you got to have a plan. You got to be a man or a woman with a plan and wait for it to present, knowing that when it does, it's a very good chance it's going to be a nice win, like it was yesterday for the members and I. So don't fuss it, guys. Don't stress it. Don't get FOMO. Don't jump in because you feel like it's about to pump. There is no way I can trust the buyer. at the minute. Even though my bias is bullish, got no lower wick. There is no margin to the next minor resist. Well, it's actually 4-hour resistance. We're trading within that bearish wick now, so I'm gonna patiently wait for some closures here. And it still could come down to an entry as well, guys, so all good. Still got plenty of time. We're pumping at the minute. Gold has done this quite often of late, where it just start to rip or dip and doesn't leave any wick prior to doing so. Sometimes you're waiting for the confirmation for it to close above a certain level or below a certain level, and it closes way too far above or below and leaves no margin to take an entry. Or that candle is the one that makes the move. But that's just part of trading, guys. Again, just patiently have to wait for your plan to present. Have the plan. So I still know I'm interested in buying it in accordance to the interruption entry, but at the moment price is pushing. Let's bring up this little indicator. Let's see what it's telling us. Probably saying don't chase. Saying interest low, so it's not a good area, but it's potentially looking for a short. Interesting. Let's pull up the interruption indicator, and it's picking up on the 2 interruptions down here. Picked up on the one I took personally today for a quick win. That was the one yesterday. That was such a good trade. So my team have access to this indicator, not the other one I showed you previously, because that is still nowhere near complete. But it definitely helps if you forget, or you just don't see it on the chart, the interruption. It helps to obviously let you know you got one here, you got one there. And what it does, if it's not being tagged into, you'll know because it leaves horizontal. I'm over winter, that's for sure. Shit house. WAG B84, how's it guys? And today we make money with CPI supernatural volume in a second. Good luck with that. There is a lot of volume at the minute too. Man, what are you doing, gold? What does goes down, goes up just as quick. At the moment, even quicker because you are bullish. BMPW, when you have multiple IC in trend on 5 minute, which do you choose? You look at the other time frames. I don't really trade off the 5 minutes, to be honest, man. I had that question asked in the members group actually today. If there's one in both directions, what do you do? And what I suggest is you trade the one that's in line with the strength of the daily candle, the one in line with the bias and trend. So sometimes you're gonna have to buy and it's gonna be a sell to target. You could place entries at both, but I would focus more so on, in this case, the bullish one as opposed to the bearish one. Okay, is this thing working? Franco, NASDAQ. Oh, very close. Getting very close to it. TikTok stream just ended by itself. Fair enough. Oh well. I'll go live again. Inactivity. Can I do if no one's asking questions? Chris Nuff, who closes. Look, possibly the only issue is it's come from a fair distance without triggering some sellers. So it needs to cleanly close above, has to close flush above that resistance. And again, what it will require is London Open to create a decent low wick. And if, for instance, so if we can get this presenting, so we get the closure above, and at London Open we get that wick tapping back into that range below only to reject, at that point I probably would set a buy stop loss back below the entry candle. That would be your target. Not as keen with buy stops and sell stops anymore because you just tend to get slipped a lot at the minute because of the volume on gold. I'll just call you Cynthia. I think it's going to sweep 4421 high, continue bearish or break the highs and continue bullish. So yeah, it plays out. Yep, well, at the moment it's breaking through the most local recent resistance. And yes, we've got a level at the daily high, but that's also at a pretty strong level of resistance that has rejected. The 1 hour interruption would have worked from higher up. Wow, look at the strength of the buyers though at the minute. So if it pushes again too far, then we're just not going to have the margin. We need to ensure we have enough margin to target. Now, there is no way we could use this candle as a stop loss, because then you don't have near a 1-to-1. It's just not worth it. It all comes down to London Open, and it needs to create a decent low wick. This thing cannot really push a lot further, to be honest, because this is my target, the start of the resistance. Oh man. This seems to be one of those weeks where come stream time, gold just does not give a shit about giving us an entry. Because the minute, man, it's just pushing. There's nothing I can do. All I can do is watch. That's it. I'm not going to FOMO into it. All I can literally do at the minute is watch and let it do its thing. Reassess. Maybe wait for an interruption to form to the upside. Not much else you can do. Thunder B, will it be too late to make a clean entry if M30 candle chart is used? There is no margin to the upside here. You got 50 pips. This was the tap into that level. That's in itself. I mean, let's keep an eye on it. Last thing I want is for this to close like right at it and leave a long upper wick. I hate trading within those wicks. It's just not something I've ever been comfortable doing. It would need to close very close to its high. The next candle would need to pull back to tap into this resistance. And if the stop loss is going to be not too wide, so if I can keep it to around 40 pips or so, then I may consider a very, very, very small entry. Franco, good plan. Yep, BMPW, I still believe it will return to buy limit. I still think there's a good chance it will as well. Jarvis, it's all good, man. It wasn't my entry. I didn't want to take any impulse entries. I didn't have the right confirmation to enter down here. I had a buy limit set. It got very close to being triggered in, not quite, and it's bounced, so it's all good. Already taken a win during the Asian session either way. Already had a really good week either way. Yesterday with the members, we had a really nice win on the members call. So I don't stress it. It's all good. Let's see what happens here. 40 seconds until London Open. At the 5 minute, suggesting that it could be exhausting at this resistance, so we really need that close. And that's where I probably want it to close to be comfortable. It's not going to do it, so yeah, there's no entry, guys. Apologies. Not chasing this. For me, it's just doesn't qualify. Not entry I would take. All right, NASDAQ would be in. Again, I do not trade it, so I'm not taking this. Do not trade NASDAQ. All right. Price action lesson, guys, so pay attention. If price breaks the high of this candle, then you have bullish counter probabilities or counter probabilities to the upside. So therefore, there is no need, if it was to continue bullish, for price to pop back down, create a low wick, and tap into this resistance. However, if it did do so, only for it to return to its high again. And what it would suggest to me is that we've perhaps grabbed some more liquidity from this zone, and if we broke again above the high, the next likely destination is the resistance at 4411. So we got very close to breaking it, not quite broke. We didn't quite break it though. Alright, it's flipping to create a lower wick. Alright, so let's watch this, because if stop loss isn't that bad, and we've got at least the 1-to-1, may consider very small buy. So So 4406.13, so it'd be 4406.40. And that is the target, so stop loss has to be below the low. Yep, just got a 1-to-1 at this point, so if it really drops any further, then I'm not going to enter. This is just based off pure price action, guys. Just based off price action, based off the fact that we've got London open and we popped up, now it popped down. So we've already created our bull wick. There is no need for us to pop back up and break our own high. If we did so, clean traffic to the left, I think it's worth a small risk entry. But again, the conditions are it cannot drop any further, because at that point we will not have a 1-to-1. So if this thing drops any further, then I'm likely just gonna have to remove it and forget about that, and it looks like we're about to do that. This is tough. But about 45 pips, yeah, forget it. Gold's playing hard to get. Hold on, this is broken low. 44 pip stop at the minute. What is the margin to the upside? Yeah, if I do it on a minute trader. 54. Alright, stops widening. Yeah, forget it, guys. There's no margin there. Time to chill. Are we going to come back down to the limit order? Might have to change the stream names. Chasing gold. The way it's going at the minute. Bilal, good morning to you, mate. I'm light, good day to you. Just looking at this entry and it's giving me mixed signals. What do you think? Yeah, not interested anymore. It's pulled back too far. I mean, I like the level it's pulled back to, but the reality is we don't even have the 1-to-1, because that would have to be my stop loss. I'm not willing to place a random 20 pip stop loss. I want it to be a technical level, because gold being gold, especially, you know, time of market open, things like that, when there is a fair bit of volume, what I could do is trigger us into the trade, flip back, briefly pop back down to minus 20 pips or whatever. And if you have a hard stop set at 20 pips, takes it out and then pumps. So I'm not prepared to have like a random hard stop. I'd rather have the technical hard stop, and that would have to be below the candle low. And at the moment, that leaves me with not even a 1-to-1 to even bother with that. Below US 100 Nasdaq. Yeah, I think it's been a bit of drawdown according to the interruption entry. It is too. Do not trade it personally. Still looks good entry to me. Now, normally with the interruptions, especially the delayed and cluster, what you do have is normally something like this on the candle, a wick. And what I normally do is have one entry set at the low and one entry set at the body. In this case, we don't have that though. Unite, you're out. All good. Nintendo, so if it doesn't break, it sell until that buy limit. Possibly, but I'm more focused on bias. To me, the bias is bullish. This 4 hour remains above some resistance here to the left. I'll need to reassess for any sells, but what it needs to do is form a bit of support, and I like the level it's at. So if it forms support at this previous resistance, begins to consolidate above and below it, and then you get that close below and a strong catalyst, then it could be a good option to take a sell. But off the back of one bearish candle back below does not cut it for me, because again, looking at the daily, it's forming quite a strong bullish candle. My bias is bullish. The weekly is a very strong bullish candle. While our structure is bullish, the candle itself is forming bullish. For me, focusing on just one bearish candle against the trend, against the bias, against the structure, even the 15-minute time frame is still technically bullish the way I see it. So focusing on just the one candle entry catalyst against the trend is not good enough. I work on confluences, gathering as many as possible in order to give my trade more probability, because it's exactly what tends to work for me. Once I can tick off multiple boxes, to me it's a valid entry. If I cannot, it's probably telling me to stay out of the market and wait for your plan to present. But it's all good, never feel rushed to the chart. It took 20 pips, Unite, nice one. Your next buy entry is 43.74. All right, a little low down. That's where the cluster interruption is from wire support. That's not a bad entry point as well. I really thought we were going to get tagged in. Just there. Again, all this info goes into the members group. I share a lot with you here, unlike others who say join my group and you get the signal. You need to join the group and I give you the signal. Dude does this and wears sunglasses. Mr. Stevie Wonder. I don't do any of that shit. I put it on screen. I tell you where I'm getting in. Again, even if it doesn't trigger in now, you know what I'm looking at for later with my team. Anything else in between, sure, you need to be part of the team. And that's where we got the cracking entry yesterday. what a pillar that one was. An absolute cracking buy that was. Definitely a trade of the week, definitely a trade of the month, and one of the trades of the year. Reason being is because it lasted, literally took all of 10-15 seconds for this thing to pop up to about 70-80 pip profit. Trade at lower wick, tapped into our interruption candle high, perfect continuation interruption. Even better, it formed our level, this wood to the left, which is 5-minute resistance. It was an absolute cracking entry. Quickly secured the bag. Members are happy, I was happy. So the members and I know, don't stress it. The entries could still come later on. All right, so it's flipping here. Let's see if it does create that move either way. I can't take it because I don't have the margin. Unite, you entered Asian Open today. Yesterday I entered NY Open. Nice one, man. Yeah, Asian session is the best of the bunch. Pips both days. Nice one, man. Alright, so it's trying to do as I suggested. So again, it's you learn something, guys, for when it may be valid. Let's watch this to see if it will actually play out either way. Once again, stop loss is just too wide. About 55 pip stop. And you got about 46. Once you have a spread of 45 pip target, that's just not wide enough. Let's look at the 5-minute. So the 5-minute has formed that, technically speaking, did close above this resistance retest, and looks like it could be continuing away from it. So this is pure price action. This is something that's actually in my course. The glitch unfiltered, holding longs from 43.69.79, took partials at another 23.9280. Nice one. Yeah, break at that level, fair enough. Oh shit, look at that rejection last second. All right, it does look more likely at this stage, the way we continue to reject above that, we could come down. And I need that. Can't take it off one bearish candle against the trend. I need that support. I need that consolidation. Papa's good to you, mate. Hope you're well. Are you sure? Nah. Got close to being triggered in at the very beginning of the stream to the buy limit, but didn't quite tap in. A minute just waiting. Under B, any vision on today's US figures? What is forecast? The forecast is for it to be less than previous. So off the back of that, and we know Trump is all about lowering interest rates because he wants the economy, you know, all fluffy duffy and everyone in a good mood and investing. He doesn't want to be known as the one that sinks the markets. So he wants CPI to be coming down. He wants interest rates to be coming down. So if this is to be the case and CPI actually is lower than the previous, and if it's lower than the forecast, then what that would suggest is there'll be strength in the majors against the US dollar, because that would lean more towards the US potentially cutting interest rates moving forward if the cost to produce is lowering. Now, I wouldn't trade it based off that, to be honest, because anything can happen with news, and a lot of time what it does do is spike up, down, and eventually ends up moving the same direction it was prior to the event itself. Be very, very careful trying to actually trade it. There is some more news throughout the week as well. CPI, that is really the leading indicator for inflation. Plus, to be honest, CPI is just a crock of shit. It's a made up figure. How in God's earth would they know what true CPI is? It's probably closer to 10+%. Right, need it to form some structure here. Once again, no wick. It's just left the building without that wick. You know, yesterday was an accident. My fat finger hit the wrong button. Well, luckily, it hit it in the right direction. You took some profit. My fingers accidentally clicked open trade on a silver entry last Monday when I was actually trying to demonstrate something to someone, not about taking a trade. And fortunately, sorry, it didn't move. So I didn't lose the thing. I was lucky. Could have been disastrous. But things like that do actually happen. Let's have a look at NASDAQ. Still holding around the entries, just in a bit of drawdown. Nintendo, so our CPI today is likely to be a buy. It just depends, because if it comes out as forecast, it may already be priced in. And what we have seen is the majors have been pushing bullish throughout this week. Well, not Euro. Sure, the Aussie's been bullish, well, pretty much at its open. But in general, the past few weeks, the majors have been pushing bullish. I would not recommend just buying it prior to the news or on the news being released. Look, likely if it does come out less than the forecast, so that it would be actually, you know, good for, or bad for the US dollar, and likely that will lead to a spike for the majors and perhaps gold. And gold is really not playing easy to get involved though. Yeah, to me this is still by far the better entry, the buy limit. Alright guys, I'll be back in a minute or two. Unite 4388 possible 45 minutes 438 possible buy entry. Possibly, I don't know, mate. Time, who knows? 4388. Yeah, again, I'm focused on 4383. It's been the story of the day where it looks like it's going to take you in and it just bounces. Same thing here. Really looked like it was coming down very quickly at that point. Pop straight up. Same thing here is really coming down quickly at the beginning of the stream. Pop straight back up. What can you do, guys? You can't get FOMO. You can't try to jump in if it doesn't quite tap in. Again, your time will come. Just wait patiently. Slow burner on NASDAQ. Time of day. Wouldn't anticipate there to be a lot of volume on NASDAQ this time of day, but you'd be pretty much at the entry. Oh, man. Oh, guys. You know, it's pretty much what you have. Yeah, 4383 is the level I've got. Res, why? Because it's not the time frame I use. I am checking it, but it doesn't really suggest anything to me. What am I supposed to be looking at here in the 5 minute? It's not what I do. It's not my time frame. Not everyone has to trade the 5 minute, the 1 minute, 3 minute. Not everyone's constantly looking to take an entry every 5 minutes, put their account under stress. I trade what is a highly probable time frame for me. That's the 15 minute. Yes, I do look at the 5 minute to add confluence, but I don't ever really base entries on it. There are the odd occasion where the 5 minute is the main confirmation, but it normally requires at least a 15 minute candle closing in the direction I want to be trading in prior to using the 5 minute to give me that confirmation. So that's why. Hopefully that answers your question. Why is the sky blue? Well, actually in Melbourne, half the time it's not. Especially in winter, cloudy. Same as Sydney. Yeah, at least it's a few degrees warmer generally, I think, where you are. Come on, gold. I mean, if it does form support here, the next option is to look for an interruption higher up, and this could be the interruption candle. So either this candle or the following one needs to engulf. What it has to do is well and truly close above this horizontal, and even preferably close above the wick high to wipe out this zone, and then the interruption is valid. We need to wipe through the zone. The reason why I want it to wipe through the zone is because if it reacts to it, respects it, then we could reject, get tagged into the interruption, and what it does is drop further back into the range below. And that's the last thing I want to get caught in. So what I want it to do in order for it to be valid is either this candle, which is likely not going to do next minute. This candle can close as is. The following candle can close like so. Has to be within a couple candles. Then we've got interruption valid at the high of this bearish candle. Actually, no, sorry, it has to close like so. Can't close like so because we've not cleared the resistance. Close like so, forget it. It has to close well and truly above the bodies, and even again, better yet, preferably above the actual wick itself. And then we've got interruption valid higher up. So once again, guys, even if it doesn't present while I'm on stream, you guys know what to look for. I've just given you what to look for. I hope you're paying attention. Let's look at the M30. Yeah, it's an ugly close. Closed above the bodies of the candle to the left, closed below the actual, what's below the resistance. That's technically the 30-minute resistance. There's nothing on the as far as the 30-minute goes for any entries. Cynthia Nixon, thank you, Justin. I've learned a lot from you since I came across your channel and these lives too. I do appreciate it, because yes, I don't take trades every stream. Sometimes there's a few days in a row where there's no entry, but I give you so much to go away with, tell you where I've actually got orders set, the levels itself. Keep an eye on for yourself away from the stream. And again, the members and I, this week it happens to come at the time when I'm on the members calls that the trades eventuate, or Asian session. We had a good week or two the last few weeks on stream. We got some pretty good trades. The minute it's just eluding us, but there's nothing much you can really do. Can't chase it. Got the plan, follow the plan. Let's see how this 15-minute closes. Even if we close bearish and golfing, then I'm starting to trust the sells a bit more, because we're starting to form that structure at this resistance. Suggest we could be coming down further. Franco looking at German 40 sells and a break of the M15 on low, break of its own low. Okay, yep. You're probably reconsidering that just now because it's probably pulled back further than what you would have liked, I'm assuming. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought so, mate. It's pulled back pretty strongly. The Nasdaq's still hanging around the entry. We need the engulfing candle to confirm a potential interruption entry. Cannot tap into the resistance. If it does, has to push through it. So far respecting that bearish candle high. Let's see if we can begin to pop above it, close above it. 5 minute forming some nice structure here as well. So it potentially starts to pop above. We must close above it. Close above without tapping into target, or if it taps into target, it has to push well beyond the target. Grabs talking. G'day to you, mate. Welcome. One of the newest members to the VIP, or newest. Would you consider M30 interruption entry stronger? It is, yeah. Because it's the you know, phototypical interruption price action pattern where you got impulse or strong bullish candle, pause, continuation. Same thing applies though. It can't tap in. If it taps in, it has to push through it. It has to close very strong, well above the bodies. So, for instance, like so, and then it's valid. If we get this sort of close and it taps in, it's not valid because it could reject at that point. We end up, you know, back down. So. $30 minutes going to be a wider stop though. Some of us go on the lens. G'day to you, my YouTube member. Hope you're well, brother. Troubleshooting out network in the office. All good, mate. Waiting to see how this candle closes. So we're starting to push above. Okay, so remember, not tap in. Taps in, we want it to close strong through it. Now the high of that bearish candle, my brokerage chart is 440613. Stop loss would be below the bearish candle, but again, do not set it yet, guys. It's not confirmed just yet. Has to engulf, has to close, not like that, has to actually close visually engulfing. And if that's to be the case, again, what you guys need to do if you're following the trade, if you understand the trade, determine what the highest point of this bearish candle is in your brokerage chart. And on the following candle, that's where you've got your pending order set at the high, stop loss below its low. But still need to wait 4 minutes for this to give us the confirmation. So it still needs to close above. One hour candle probabilities are bullish now. High, low, high, high. So it's looking good. As is the M30. 4 hours pulled quite significantly back into the wick of that previous candle. We've got the daily forming a very strong bullish candle yet again. So to me, looks like there is potential for further upside. Just need to wait just under 3 minutes for my confirmation here. once again. Last thing we wanted to do is tap into this point and reject. What it's doing right now is fine, but it just cannot tap into that point and reject. Yeah, so you got literally the 1-to-1. Alright guys, let's see. We've got 1 minute remaining on this candle. At the moment, it's going to be valid. So you guys know the deal. Close like so. Obviously, see we're engulfing that bearish candle now. Then get ready to set a potential buy limit and hide the bearish candle, stop loss back below its low, targeting that resistance. As per rules for interruption, as soon as it flips, you get to break even in case it does flip back again and break its own low and continue back bearish. So in this case, if it closed like so, it'd only be about 14 pips or so in profit, but we'll see. May wait for it to break the high to get to break in. Alright, appears like it will be valid. So, I'm going to set it. Leave a wick, please leave a wick. Alright, it's going to do it. 4406.13. Now we cannot tap into the target, so this candle can't rip up and tap in. Exact same as it doing it on the actual confirmation candle. So if this candle rips up and taps in and then rejects, there's no entry. Bling? Yes or no? Alright, we're in.
I'm in. Yeah.
You in, mate?
Yeah.
Nice one. Ooh. All right, pushing quite nicely. $15, 14 pips on the table. Let's see. Want it to begin to flip and then get to break even as per the rules for the interruption. So about to flip, guys. Again, following the rules for the interruption, as soon as this flips bullish, you get to break even. There's no need to break its own low. And we are flipping. So I'm going to get to break even because we are very high up too. High up into the resistance, into the 4-hour level. So I'm at break even and it's now basically risk free. We'll see. Again, following the rules for the trade. Coming to the closure of the 1 hour as well. The last thing I want to do is get caught in 1 hour pulling back to leave a significant upper wick. So let's see if you can do the job. Come on. And you got some decent profit on the table, guys. No drawdown. If this thing flips, it's likely going to rip. I've not secured anything. I had about 16 pips or so on the table, but not yet secured. Here we go. Alrighty, gang. Let's go. Let's go, guys.
Cracking trade. I think I saw red for about 3 seconds. Less, maybe like a pound's worth of draw now. Unreal.
Let's see. I'm gonna close some partials. And once again, job done. More than 30 pips on that one. And again, guys, don't be greedy because we're hard pressed against this resistance. Just take something off the table. And right at the very end, but we got it done. Killing it, guys. Absolutely killing. We do this shit regular. 0 drawdown yesterday. How was that trade on the call yesterday? I know you were in earlier, but
that was the quickest trade I've ever seen in my life.
That one yesterday was the best trade. Absolutely cracking entry. And this one is also a pretty good one. Job done, guys. Safely at break even, secured some profit. Easy target. Again, there is not much margin, so don't be greedy, guys. And we're coming to a closure of the 1 hour. Brad, Frankie, nice one. W, nice one, man. Brad, it's a work of art. Locked in profits. Awesome, mate. Awesome. Jesse, W as usual. Thank you, mate. Anakan, very nice. Thank you. Unreal. And of course, there's lower numbers on YouTube today because it didn't take a trade yesterday. All good. Can't win.
Is that how it works? You don't get one in the stream.
Yeah, the numbers drop.
And there are fewer the next day.
Yeah, it's pretty much how it works. On to the next guy, seeing who's taking a trade. Brings up win 164 for the stream. With 45 losses. Not a bad strike rate at all. Nice one.
That's what I was saying about that trade yesterday. Is the good thing about that trade is not even how quickly it went, or even that it went that far. It's just that's so repeatable.
Exactly.
You can just rely on that setup over time. Obviously, not 100% of the time, but over time.
Exactly. You know, it's just a very repeatable setup that plays out time and time again. At least, you know, that 75-80% of the time. And this still remains my favorite, the continuation. That's 0 drawdown, the one from the members stream yesterday. Also, I only had like 4 or 5 pip drawdown on that, and that's the continuation. So of the 3 different interruption entries, the continuation is still my favorite. I do like them all though. They're all very highly probable, but to me this is probably the most probable of the lot. To be honest, man, I was kind of thinking that you may have taken an early entry here.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I just thought I didn't feel that comfortable in that trade yesterday, and yeah, it looks like a great win on the face of it.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Do I actually trust that setup, or am I just taking it because it might win?
Because it worked yesterday. Yeah. I was looking at afterwards thinking, yeah, probably could have taken a risky early entry, but I also remembered fact that you sat through it for what, an hour or so yesterday.
That's what I mean. I'd rather, the short term, yeah, you might win, but I'd rather take the ones that we know work out and play out over time really nicely.
Yeah, exactly. Which are these entries. I'll just call you Aya. Great trades from Nigeria. Nice one, man. Peter, missed it this time. All good, man. Where should you go short? I don't see any shorts, to be honest. It's very bullish at the minute. I would focus on buys. Yeah, I would focus on buys. So what I would focus on is see if we continue to rip to the upside. Will it leave some further interruption entries? Now, there's still potentially one valid on the M30. I'm not going to take it though, because there is really, we're so close to tapping into that level now. I'm not going to bother. You don't have the 1-to-1. Stop loss is too wide, so I wouldn't bother with the M30. What I would prefer is for this thing to continue to do its thing, continue to rip on the current impulse. Maybe even leave another interruption on the 15 or 30 and then valid here. But personally, we'll not be looking at sells. Hun BB, W sir, nice one. Michael Lyons, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Thank you. Good trade, yep. Graham's talking, great man. Same setup, same result almost every time. Nice one, brother. Good to hear it. Some of the members doing well. Bunch at A.C.T. Forex, still killing it. Brian, I don't only buy or sell at the flip, but I like your method. Seems more safe, if I could say. Look, again, it's like James said, it's a repeatable pattern within price action. So to us, because we used to do the same, I used to buy stop the hype that candle in the mid, but what we've worked out is in the meantime, a lot of time it pulls back to the recent pause candle. It'll bounce off that, then flip. So we could have already been up 20 pips or so by the time we'll normally take an entry. Sometimes even more than that. So it's just a matter of observing the markets and being, on the charts and seeing shit play out time and time over again to trust it and put it to work, test it, and that's what we did. And it's become a favorite entry. So you need to let it show you that it's ready. Let it show you it's impulsed or it's continued through it. And then there's a good chance if it pulls back to that level, it's going to bounce off it and give you another little move to get to, some profit, get to break even, get the job done. Alex, how much should I have before I can trade it? Look, it depends where you are. What I always suggest is, and any, streamer, mentor, trader with experience would suggest that the best thing to do is only trade what you could afford to lose. Zao Journey, thank you for the sticker. Because the reality is as a newer trader, you're likely going to lose it and blow it. But the reality is too, depending where you are, what jurisdiction you fall under, because if you're under ASIC regulations with leverage of 1-to-30, I'm not sure what the minimum is to open a trade on gold. I would hazard a guess you'd need at least $500 minimum to open, and there goes the runner, a 1 cent lot, which is the smallest position possible. Michael, send W for 10 joules. I was talking, get yourself some sunnies after yesterday's trade. Oh man, yesterday's trade. It's the most satisfying trade that one could be. Well, his sunnies are there. He's shy. Somewhere in the background. Saw another dude. Saw in the thumbnail when you click over something, it shows the actual live without actually clicking on to watch it. He had some costume on. Should have watched it for a minute, but I mean, he knows where it's at. That's what you gotta do. Have a mask on, sunnies, or some costume on, and people will check you out. Right now, cry later. Thank you. I got funded an account and was my last day to save it because of all the losses. I made $18 from South Africa. It's a lot of money. God bless. Nice one, man. Happy to hear it. All right, so that's out now. Runner is out. How much profit did it have on the table? So in the end, you have just over 40 pips. To be honest, within a tight area, that's good enough. So I secured most of it. I'm not even sure in the end what it was. I just clicked. I think it was roughly around that 25 to 30. Knowing that we're within a tight area, just get something up the table, gets break even. But again, we had 0 drawdown. So well done. All right, good work, guys. My team, I'll be back with you guys in probably an hour and a half or so from now. Look forward to that. Take care. Well done. To YouTube, TikTok, thank you one all for the support, guys. If you'd like to know any more about what we do at A.C.T Forex, the links down below on the YouTube stream. Check out the website, got all the information there as well. That is live. TikTok, that's on the profile page. The link is back. You guys want to check it out. Really good little tight-knit community. We do well. We trade the Asian session. I'm about to call trades during the Asian session. We have a live call pretty much every day after the stream at some point, so 4 days a week, usually 3 to 4 days a week, but for the most part it's 4 days a week. And I send in trade ideas daily guys. So let's have a look at NASDAQ quickly. Still at the entry, so it's not really done anything. The trade ideas section, plus you got the course, you got everything, and we are absolutely killing it. Alright guys, take care, trade safe, have a good one. I'll be back tomorrow. Well done today, and until tomorrow. Oh, hang on. Oh, well, let's see. See you guys. Bye for now.